You're listening to Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast. Two friends since first grade, now dads, reliving the Disney movies we grew up on with our own kids. I'm Eddie Ferguson.
And I'm JB Waggoner. And on today's show, we are seeing spots as we review 102 Dalmatians. But mostly, we're talking Marvel. First, though, Eddie, how are you and the family?
I am doing well. Thank you for singling me out. And the family, we are doing good. Lewis starts preschool this week.
Whoa,
so this
deal.
is a big deal. So big thing there is he's not learning Spanish very well. So we hope that this will kind of help with his Spanish acquisition. Ellie is a raging toddler. And I will have a good little story to explain that here in a second.
Ooh.
And Asa is now crawling all over the house. And he can crawl up 5 stairs to go to from like our living room area up to the next level.
Wow.
So we're constantly, and he likes to like crawl under things. So like he will tunnel into like a different spot. And so you're always like playing, instead of where's Waldo, it's like where's Asa at? So yeah, it's really crazy. So we've got him that we're looking for everywhere. And then Ellie, as a 2-year-old, we always say the most dangerous sound is silence. And the other day we encountered some silence, only to discover that she had gotten one of these like little baskets. All of their toys are on shelves with little baskets so they can kind of pull off a certain toy, play with it, then put it back in. And she had emptied the toys out of the basket, went into the kitchen, and unbeknownst to us, the child's safety lock, like the little thing that locks the pantry, had not been returned by one of us. We don't know who. We need to launch an investigation, but we don't know who. And she proceeded to get into the pantry and load her basket up with, no lie, probably somewhere about like 8 to 10 eggs.
Real eggs, not like play eggs.
Real eggs. Not play eggs, real eggs. So she loads up her basket, which is cute, right? Like, yeah. Okay, she's going adorable. Around. She's loading up her little basket. She sets it down in the middle of the kitchen floor. She cracks a few eggs just flat out on the middle of the floor. Then has the brilliant idea of saying, let me make breakfast for Lucy, our dog.
Oh.
Goes over to the dog bowl, which has dog food in it. Cracks probably 2 to 3 eggs into the dog bowl and mixes it up.
Oh, my.
So we walk in and we took a video of it. So she's dog food, egg mixture, eggs in a basket, some cracked, then some all over the floor. I mean, and you can watch it in the kitchen. It's like CSI. Mm-hmm. You can see like, okay, this is where she first had that idea. And then it went over here and you can see the trail of yolk going over to there with a little fingerprint. So that is what is happening here in the wonderful Ferguson household. But enough about us. We've got some really cool Disney news that we just have to get to.
Oh, yeah.
This was a busy weekend. It was the San Diego Comic-Con. And of course, Marvel took over Hall H. And did they ever take it over? I think I just didn't text you any of the news coming out. I just texted you, we're going to have a big news section this week.
That was your exact words. Big news.
If you're tuning in to this episode because you love 102 Dalmatians and you just want to hear us talk on and on and on about that, I'm sorry. I have a feeling 102 Dalmatians is as much as I love Glenn Close, we're going to have a limited time at the end. Let's focus here on some of the big things. JB, what was your main reaction here to Comic-Con?
Well, first off, I just want to say that I wasted so many years in California living there without actually going to Comic-Con. It wasn't that far away. My My wife's grandmother lived there for a time, really close to where all of this was happening. And I could have taken advantage of that, and I never did. And I'm kicking myself for never doing that. Seeing all the people dressed up, all the cosplay, all of the events and stuff like that. But it's because I never had somebody who had been before that I could go with to like, hey, show me the ropes. It's like all the film festivals that I wanted to go to that I've just never gone to because didn't know anybody. So I was a little sad watching this going back, man, I could have gone. I could have used my free Southwest voucher that I had that's probably going to just expire. So I feel like that should be our goal. Our goal next year, Eddie, is to go to Comic-Con ourselves and just experience the full thing. What do you think?
That would be a fun podcast episode
live from Comic-Con.
Well, live from Comic-Con. Oh, that is a good one. Okay, so we've got that one. No, in my mind, I was thinking of like, what are our this is so overused, so I don't want to say bucket list, but you know, our dream trips. Like, what are our what is the nerd list that we want to knock off? Because we went to One Infinity Loop, and we went that. And we have our Apple swag. Now that they've moved to Apple Park, I feel like we need to go there. I feel like we need to go to Apple Park. Well, me, not you, because you're kind of wavering on your love for Apple. And then, of course, we've also talked about the epic Disney World trip. But this definitely... and then D23. We have to do a D23, yeah.
The big one, though, we all know what the really big one is. It has nothing to do with Disney, but it's the inevitable one that we have to do before we die. That is a bucket list one. And that is going to New Zealand and taking a Lord of the Rings epic adventure.
I just want to go to the Green Dragon. Oh my goodness. This total side note. We may have to start a Lord of the Rings podcast, but there is a restaurant here that is no lie, like an hour from our house, that is Lord of the Rings themed.
Oh.
The outside of it looks like Bag End and is all themed. It's literally called the Shire in Spanish, of course. I can't remember what the word for La Camaraca in Spanish is the word for Shire. But I'm like, oh, now I have to go. But
yep. So our nerddom was definitely coming out of our skin all over this weekend, just ready to go to this thing. But alas, neither of us went this year. There's always next year. But let's first talk about the first big thing. It's the end of Phase 4 as we're heading on to the end of this year. We still got She-Hulk, the show. We'll see what happens with that. But then the other big thing that we finally got a trailer for, we've all been waiting for, how are they going to attack this? And that is the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer. Oh, Eddie, like,
I've watched this trailer at least a half a dozen times. The trailer is fantastic.
Yep.
Fantastic. I've watched the trailer a couple times. I've watched Screen Crush's review of it and like the 83 Easter eggs that I missed and you missed and everybody misses because they just catch everything. This is really exciting. And I got hints at like, I feel like it's going to set up a lot of things and we're going to really finally going to start to feel Marvel opening back up again. I think that was the biggest complaint we've talked about over the past couple of weeks with Thor and Doctor Strange, is that just feels like I don't know what I've heard of the multiverse so far, or I've seen in the multiverse I don't like. It's just a little clunky. I don't know how everything's connecting.
I'm a little tired of doing the math in my head.
Yeah.
Trying to do the logistics in my head.
Like, which one's here, which one's that? Though I rewatched Spider-Man No Way Home last night, and it's so good. The 3 Spider-Man stuff is just solid all the way through. But Wakanda Forever, this is, I don't know where this is going to go. We're going to get a new Black Panther at the end of it. You see that teased. And I think what's really cool, and the Screen Crush video does a good job, is like, there's a lot of people that could take up that mantle. And so it'll be fun to kind of see how they play that out. This will be the first time we see Wakanda open to the world. Like everybody knows Wakanda exists and that it is, the most advanced culture. And then I'm excited. It looks like we're getting the Atlanteans. And I can't remember his name, something, the Submariner, the guy. It's kind of like Marvel's Aquaman. But apparently this, again, I learned this in the Screen Crush video. He came out like 2.5 years before DC released Aquaman. So actually Aquaman is this guy, but anywho.
This trailer, the song that they remixed for this was so incredible. It's No Woman, No Cry by Bob Marley. The lyrics are beautiful. It's a perfect song for this. Good friends we have had. Oh, good friends we've lost along the way. In this bright future, you can't forget your past. So so dry your tears, I say, no woman, no cry. Oh, my little sister, don't shed your tears. No woman, no cry. And then that refrain of everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right now, over and over. It's just this haunting melody throughout this entire piece. While you're seeing images of his sister, who's like obviously brokenhearted. His mom, played by Angela Bassett, as she is trying to gather her people around her. It's like, my family is gone. And then you even have Nakia on the beach and Okoye, who's like coming out of the shadows, like all of these women that are left behind. And it was interesting to see, like, this is all of completely female led story with all of these people. That it's so intriguing to me where they go with this, who they give the mantle. I have ideas. I don't really want to say who I think, because I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't done any research on it. But man, it's been a while since I've seen a Marvel trailer that just gave me all the goosebumps of just like, oh, I have no idea what's going to happen, but this looks amazing.
Well, and I got excited. Like, I think all of the other Marvel movies, I don't know if I have been, I'm trying to remember here. I don't think like I've just like been anticipating like an excitement to like, okay, when is it? I want to make sure that I go see it, I haven't rushed out to go see another Marvel movie. Well, I think probably since Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is I can't think of another movie where the real life counterpart has passed away, like Black Panther had, like the real actor did. So then they got to write that into the storyline for the rest of the film. I know I'm getting shades of West Wing right now in the final season.
I was just about to say, you pulled it straight out of my head.
But even that, they kind of just wrote around him and didn't really you still get that. I guess you do get that big moment at the very end where everyone's heartbroken and you get the funeral and stuff like that. But this is another level where you're almost like grieving with them, like collectively. And it's not. Yeah. So grieving with them, but then also you got the impending doom of whatever the next thing is. But this is really about the people left behind. And I think the next trailers we're going to get will probably highlight more of what's to come, I believe.
Yeah, this, I was so happy to see that this is coming November. I had forgotten where this was falling on the timeline. And when I saw that flash up there, I was like, oh, yes, I don't have to. Because some of these that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, I'm really excited about as well, but they're also 2-3 years away, So it's like, okay, I'm not going to get too amped up right now. Let's wait and see. But it's right around the corner. Amazing trailer. If you have not seen it, go watch it. And I would say, don't watch this on your phone. Watch it on a big screen with some good sound. Like JB said, it's well mixed. The music selection in this is just incredible. The trailer itself just is an experience. So I can only imagine what the film is.
It hits different. That's for sure.
For sure.
So that's going to be the end of Phase 4, which we've kind of been a little mixed about. If you want to hear some of our reviews of Phase 4, you can listen to one of our previous episodes where we go more in depth about how we ranked all of the Marvel Phase 4. You can listen to that in our previous episode. But what they also talked about at Comic-Con is Phase 5. And first off, Eddie, we get a name for this, and that is the Multiverse Saga.
So we had the Infinity Saga, and that was kind of Phase 2 and 3. So here we are. We've got another saga, which, yay. This is, I mean, I think what made the previous Marvel movie so good is you didn't always have a lot of interconnectivity, but you had some, and you felt like it was driving and pushing towards something. And we finally have that, and we know who the new big bad is.
And that is going to be Kang the Conqueror. We got a little bit of a taste of him at the end of Loki, the final episode of season 1 of Loki. You see his other other version of him who's
variant.
Kind of a variant. There you go, Eddie. I knew you'd have that at the tip of your tongue. So we got a sense of him there, and people started building up like this is probably going to be the bad guy. And we actually get a first real taste of him, most likely going to be in the first film that's going to be coming out in Phase 5, which is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantum Mania, that comes out February 2023.
Quantum Mania! It just
a-
feels like it needs to be like Jock Rock yelled, you know, woo, 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 Quantum Mania!
I actually have a little button that I can click and it does that thingy. So that's going to kick us off next year, 2023. And then right after that, we're going to get into Secret Invasion, which is in the spring. This is Disney Plus. This is going to be featuring Kobe Smulders and Nick Fury. And we're getting the Skrulls back from from Captain Marvel. We're getting Captain Marvel Skrulls, which we got a little bit of a taste of.
That was teased that they had secretly invaded and take over. So the question is Nick Fury really Nick Fury still, or was he a Skrull the whole time?
That is going to be one of the big questions from that.
See, doppelganger, who knows? I'm excited for this. We're big How I Met Your Mother fans, so Colby Smulders coming back. Always going to love that.
Yep. And following up from that, there was actually a trailer for this at Comic-Con, which they haven't publicly released unless you like watching home videos of people doing it through t-shirts and stuff like that. But in May 2023, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which they were kind of teased that they were going to be a part of Thor. Then they're just in the first opening scene and then they're out of there. So we're actually going to get a full Guardians film. Eddie, you're excited about that?
I am. It'll be really intriguing. I think one of the things that I saw that was interesting is you actually saw like Chris Pratt, like emotional, he got choked up on stage just talking about it. So it'll be interesting.
About the director, right? About James Gunn bringing him back.
But the director, and then also just kind of the whole story and everything. I think in many ways, this is the series that made him a giant movie star, not Jurassic World. It was definitely being Star-Lord. So I'm hopeful. We've said this with Jurassic World and the beginning of Thor. It just kind of felt like he just wasn't his normal self. So I'm hoping upon hoping that we just get full Chris Pratt Star-Lord, because
that'd be good.
It's fantastic. We need it.
You're right. The last couple of things that I've at least seen in him, and I haven't seen some of the other things that are out there on Amazon or whatever, where else he's doing movies at. But
I hear that's really good.
Yeah, hoping for better things. So we get that in May 2023. Right after that, we're jumping to in the spring of 2023 as well, or summer. I think I might have this one wrong. But Echo, which if you don't know, she was the deaf hero antagonist, turns a new leaf in Hawkeye. So she is going to get her own series there on Disney Plus in this in that same spring time as well.
Yeah, that one it was kind of one of those things. Okay, cool. Let's see. I don't know too much about the character there, but
she also was not an actress. She was chosen because she is deaf and has a disability with losing one of her legs. So that is partially why she was given the role, but then also like her physical abilities to handle the role as well. So that's kind of a different similar to Miss Marvel, was kind of a different casting for that, but someone who fit the profile of the person that they were casting for of Native American descent. So then we also jump into next summer, we're going to get Loki Season 2. So this is our first sequel series from Disney Plus from Marvel, Eddie.
Yeah. I have they released numbers of like viewership of the other ones?
I've heard that Loki is their number one
that would
show
be my
on Marvel.
guess.
I don't know about some of the more recent stuff, but I've heard that Loki is the top.
That would be my guess. It definitely felt like it had the most buzz. It and WandaVision kind of had the most buzz about it. It also makes sense that this would be the one to have the second season because all of the other ones felt tight and complete, just a whole story unto themselves. Loki did not. It ended very, in my opinion, abruptly and open-ended. It left with more questions unanswered than answered. So I was just like, I loved it every beat of the way. But I'm ready for a second season. It'll be cool how that plays out. And that Kang came in the first season. Is this going to be a kind of a key pivot? It's exciting to see that like the Disney Plus shows could be consequential to the overall multiverse saga.
It sounded originally like before we actually got WandaVision, the idea was like, oh, you don't have to watch the Disney Plus stuff to get the movies and the overall. But it's getting harder to believe that. I just don't know how that can really
so
hold
much
up.
out there. There's so much out there. Well, and that's where I think, our biggest frustration with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is it felt like they undid a Disney Plus series, which is worse, Okay, it's one thing that you don't have to see it. Don't undo it. Don't act like that story arc didn't happen.
That's exactly, I believe. And actually now thinking about it, coming from that perspective, if you just see her, no, I don't think it works. It still doesn't work. So we're just going to move on. So also next summer, man, what a big summer. Next year's just going to be massive, 2023. So in July, we're going to get Marvel.
We're gonna have to budget it now. Just start putting away a little bit more, or you may just have to get A-list next year.
I think I might be. Every time we get through the summer, I then have to remind myself that September is coming, and there's nothing in September. But in July of next year, we're getting the Marvels, which we got teased for a little bit at the end of Miss Marvel. There's
I watched
after
that.
credit. You did? You finally got there? Forced yourself to watch it?
I just watched the after credit scene. That's it. Because I heard it was.
That's all you really needed to watch. So we get a preview for that. We're gonna get back, assuming we get Captain Marvel with Miss Marvel. So that
was Carol Dan. What's her friend?
The other friend. That
gets teased in.
That was in WandaVision.
She was in WandaVision, and she was in Stink and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness as Captain Marvel.
Well, as Eddie is trying to figure that out and is looking furiously on IMDb for the answer to that, that'll be coming next summer. We're getting the Marvels. This is the first time, I believe, that one of our Disney show characters, Disney Plus characters, is going to jump over into the movie as like an actual character. For that whole part of it. So it's going to be interesting to see how they bring her into the new world and how the two of them, will they have much chemistry together? They got to share a movie together. I'm assuming we'll kind of see what happens there. You got it?
Maria Rambeau. Thank you.
Rambeau.
Thank you for being patient with me.
Yep. That fall, we get a return of a character we haven't seen since 1998, and that is Blade. Played by Mahershala Ali, which the fans, this is one of those, I think the fans chose this because he is the embodiment of Wesley Snipes, who played the original Blade in those films. He was the obvious choice for this. And so I'm excited to see him in this role for sure.
Have you seen the Wesley Snipes version?
I've seen them. I remember watching them when I was in high school and loving every second of them. It's just slice them up and move on. Vampire film.
Somehow I have missed Blade.
You should at least check it out. Just check it out once, or maybe even just skim through it.
I have seen Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, but I have not seen Blade.
That's amazing. That's perfect. So after that, this was a film that I didn't know much about. So another series coming to Disney Plus that fall of 2023 is Ironheart. It was a 2016 comic, so a little bit more recent. But we're actually going to see the character for Ironheart here in this fall when for Wakanda Forever. Ironheart is actually the genius inventor that you can kind of see Shuri kind of dapping up in the middle of that trailer. She's going to be playing Ironheart in the fall series. I don't know much else about that other than that.
It seems like they're from the 2016 comic, a little bit of a what I think what we're seeing is like the new generation of superheroes, but they want to emulate the first generation. So you have Hawkeye, of course, with kind of the mentor relationship. Yeah. You definitely got that with Miss Marvel, and then this one now with Iron Man. So it'll be interesting just to kind of see how these things keep. Well, and even Hulk and She-Hulk, that's an obvious.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it seems a little bit of a theme going on here where like the first generation is handing off to the next generation.
So the final new thing that's going to be coming out in 2023 was the place where, as I started reciting some of the things off and showing them to my wife, this is the one she stopped and was like,
"Me too.
I'm here for this. Didn't care about anything else. I'm here for this." And that right is there with Eddie, her. Agatha, Coven of Chaos. I'm here for your TED Talk.
Catherine Hahn steals whatever she's in. And it doesn't matter what it is. Like, she just steals it. She's even one of those people that, like, if she's on like a talk show, she steals that. It's like the only time that I'll watch Seth Meyers is when Catherine Hahn is on, because she'll make it watchable.
Every movie, yeah, you're right. Every movie, Step Brothers,
steals it.
The Bad Moms, like everything that she's been in, she just like makes it her own. Even it was funny.
Even her character in Parks and Rec, like she comes in, she's like the antithesis to Leslie Knope, and just
she's a great foil to her. Yes.
Oh, so fantastic.
I think every one of us were like, especially the Agatha All Along song. If that isn't like a part of her, even the theme needs to be inside of the opening credits for that movie, because it'll just so much joy, so much emotion in that, and it's going to be a little bit of a turn. It's going to be a bad guy. Kind of like Loki, bad guy. Are they good in this? Is she actually going to be good at like a good person in this? Is this her origin story? What are we going to get? I'm in for any of it.
Do you think this was planned? Like, or they just saw the reaction everybody had to how well Catherine Hahn played that character and went, Booker, we've got to do more of this.
It feels like too tight of a turnaround to go from 2021 to a brand new show in 2023 without there being, like, Marvel just takes so long on some of this stuff. Like the breadcrumbs of Secret Invasion was led in like all the way back in 2020 or whatever.
Sure.
It's there's too much. They take too long to do any of this stuff too. Like they take them forever on some of these things. Like it's going to be like 6 or 7 years between Avengers movies. Like that's what I think. I think they've been planning this, but it just, they hit gold. They hit gold with it.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so I'll try to pick it up a little bit. 2024. This is the last couple of films from Phase 5 going to be in here. So first off, we get a crossover from Netflix coming to Disney Plus. That is Daredevil: Born Again. 3 seasons over on Netflix. A whole world building over there with Jessica Jones and Iron Fist and other things like that. So Charlie Cox. Yep, Defenders. So So Charlie Cox is going to reprise his role. We saw him in the Spider-Man movie. We also saw D'Onofrio in the Hawkeye series. So we've already seen that this was coming, but it's going to get 18 episodes.
18 episodes.
That's insane.
Thank you.
We're getting 6 episodes here, 5 episodes there, 8. Oh man, we got 10 episodes or something for that first series, but now this is like 18 episodes, which is more in line with what they got kind of over on Netflix. So I'm really intrigued with this. It's a much darker tone. Are they going to keep that tone going, or are they going to kind of lighten it up, do you think?
I hope it stays the darker tone. I think that's what is so intriguing about the Daredevil character. The Born Again title is intriguing. It's got to be a little tongue in cheek with, him actually coming back from the Netflix series to here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his, honestly, like I saw there were so many rumors with Spider-Man No Way Home about Garfield and Maguire coming back. Like, okay, yes, I had a big reaction. I was super excited. But the big shocker for me in Spider-Man No Way Home was that Daredevil was that they had Charlie Cox actually playing him. That was total shocker. And I had a visceral reaction to it. And Sarah was like, who is he? I don't know who, like, why are you so excited about this?
This is Daredevil.
Because his Netflix series was amazing. It was fantastic.
Yeah, high hopes for that. I'm interested to see how they massage that show into the Disney. Will this become canon? Will all the Netflix stuff become canon? Who knows? Second big thing coming out in 2024 is we get the reprise of the new Captain America. This is Captain America 4, New World Order. Sam Wilson now as Captain America, who was formerly Falcon. Going to be taking over. He's going to get his own movie in 2024, May that year.
I'm excited about this. I think for me, the Captain America movies are some of my favorites. Are some of the more rewatchable ones in the whole MCU. So I just like kind of the structure that they've put around the other three. So it'll be intriguing to see if this is in the same vein of that, or are we going to get something else? The title New World Order kind of implies that, just kind of nudges at that a little bit. So we'll see what comes of it.
Another one. This is the final movie of Phase 5. Is a little bit, very much a different one. This is Thunderbolts. This is what Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, Valentina, has been kind of building towards by picking up all of these anti-heroes and side characters. This is kind of, I know this is probably blasphemy to say this, but this is Marvel's version of Suicide Squad a little bit. They're called reformed villains. So we'll see Fake Cap back again, I'm assuming, for this movie, as well as some other different characters as well. Don't know much about this other than that.
Black Widow's sister. Does she have a moniker yet?
I'm sure she does, and somebody out there will email us or tweet at us or text us that we're completely wrong and need to get her.
That was right. The bonus scene at the end of Black Widow, which she's such a fantastic character. That'll be fun to see.
It's gonna be awesome.
So we're getting a Disney Plus series in 24, and then just 3 movies. So a lot in 23 and less in 24.
But I think that's all they've been telling us so far. I think that there's a lot more to come.
So this is true. If you look at the picture that was released from Comic-Con, they actually did a timeline for each phase. And phase 5 is like fully flushed out with 11 things. Phase 6 had 11 slots, but only 3 things were on there. So there is definitely a lot more to be announced in phase 6, which hopefully means we also get a lot more content there in 24.
Do you want to prepare us for just the taste of phase 6 that we have to look forward to?
So the first thing that we heard about was Fantastic Four coming out in November of 2024. Has not been confirmed if John Krasinski will be coming back.
But we know. We know Eddie.
Do we?
I think we do. I think he's in it. We got him in case in Multiverse of Madness. It'd be weird to recast him.
It would be really weird to recast him now. I do hope that they get him for that. I don't know. Like, this will be the third time they try Fantastic Four. First time within the MCU, but still, nonetheless, the third time. The previous two have just not been good at all. So we'll see.
If you want to see Captain America in Fantastic Four, you should go check out the the 2000s one.
Yeah, and the 2000s one, they weren't cringe-worthy like the newer ones. The newer ones...
I forgot about the newer ones, too.
The newer ones I turned off. It was like, no, I just can't. I just cannot do this. So that's that one. I think that is a personal favorite of Kevin Feige. I've watched enough kind of like little interviews with him. Like, this is one where I think he's frustrated that it hasn't been done right. And so I think he's kind of taken it upon himself to do that one.
But the last two thing, this is the big deal.
All they announced is that the capstone of the Multiverse Saga, similar to what not similar, but with the Infinity Saga, is that we will have 2 Avengers films 6 months apart. The first one will be Avengers Kang Dynasty in May of 25, and then Avengers Secret Wars in November of 25, which I'm intrigued there with the Secret Wars because it feels like Wakanda Forever setting up some things, Secret Invasion setting up some of that, Captain America New World is setting up some of that. I'm beginning to see some threads here, which I like. I'm really excited about those things. So that could be a lot. I think we felt it with Endgame, that so much came together. And good for them to realize they can't put those out all the time. People just, it would lose its power. So by the time 2025 comes along, it will be 6 years since we've had a huge Avenger level film. So yeah, I think we'll be primed and ready for it. I think it'll be exciting. There's a lot of potential there.
It's just a lot for 2 years, for 1 year to have 2 massive Avengers movies in the same year. I think there's an appetite for it, but I don't know. Like, there was something about that entire year having to wait between Infinity War and Endgame that you're just sitting there in the unknown for all that time that kind of built up to the massive success that Endgame ended up becoming. All the theories, all the ideas, and basically nothing other than Ant-Man in between that time. So
when did it come out?
So
I thought it was tight. I thought it was a
2018.
tight turnaround.
It was 2018, and then it was a whole year until it was 2019. Was when we got Endgame. So
both spring releases.
Yep. So that's kind of what butting them up together in the same year, that's going to be massive. It's going to be crazy. So hopefully you've listened to all this. You've been able to track with it. I've had to make my own spreadsheet to be able to make any sense of this, but you can start to see the thread. There's nothing that's crazy out of right or left field. They've been building this all together, very unlike the second of the Rian Johnson Star Wars film that we try not to talk about too much. There's actually some planning and thought behind this. I'm hoping for great characters. We're hoping for even better. Phase 4 has left me kind of wanting more, just better stuff. So hopefully now we've gotten a little bit longer out of the pandemic and stuff. It'll be better.
Have you heard who does the large scale planning?
Like, there's a person, I'm guessing?
No, it's called the Marvel Parliament.
What? I need to know about this.
So there's a lot out there. So when I went to see Thor: Love and Thunder, I of course was waiting till the very end to see all the credit scenes, and I see just a very and a special thank you to the Marvel Parliament with some names listed, and I'm like, what? The Marvel Parliament? Apparently, they used to have something akin to the Brain Trust, like what Pixar and Disney Animation has. Yep. They had that at Marvel. But what they were discovering is that that group was getting too invasive. They were, directors of individual films would get conflicting notes from two different people within the Brain Trust. So Kevin Feige dissolved it and created something that's kind of an amalgamation of the story trust from Lucasfilm, or the story team, and the Brain Trust from Pixar and animation, and they call it the Marvel Parliament. And they speak as one. So directors and stuff just get notes from the Parliament to make sure that everything stays flowing and connecting. And they're the ones doing kind of the broader planning.
It also seems like, from just my very quick searching, and this could all be completely wrong, that these are also people that actually are making some of the content as well.
Yes.
They're not just like a board of elders somewhere else just telling people how to live their lives, that they're actually like shepherding and guiding some of these projects as well. So that's super cool. I'm going to do a lot more research on this, Eddie. This is
the Marvel Parliament. The name alone is like, okay, cool. I like it.
I can't tell if I like the name or hate the name, because it's parliament, it's government. Like that, it starts getting me a little weird vibes, though.
Have you ever watched Parliament discussions on C-SPAN from the UK? Like, there's nothing more entertaining than a parliamentary discussion.
Effective. That might be. I mean,
sure.
All government has its very limits on its ability to do anything. But
that's very libertarian of you.
Very libertarian of me. You know what? That's what I call me, libertarian JB.
Ron Paul would be proud.
Vote Ron Paul. But you know what? That may or may not have been the reason that you guys are listening to today's show. If you're like us,
yeah, that's right. We had a show.
We actually have a show to talk about, an actual movie to talk about, a Disney movie, classic Disney film to watch. But thank you for listening to with us as we've broken down all the new stuff coming out there. I'm sure we're gonna have to take some time at D23 when we've got new stuff that I'm sure they'll leak a little bit more, maybe some new trailers and stuff. But today, what we want to get into is the sequel that I don't know that anybody was asking for, but they gave us from 2000, and that is 102 Dalmatians.
Cue the Disney sound effect.
Okay, so the IMDb description for 102 Dalmatians, starring Glenn Close. I have to say that every time because it's contractual. 102 Dalmatians. This is the IMDb description for it. Cruella de Vil gets out of prison and goes after the puppies or the poopies once more. Succinct, to the point. I get it. That's all I need to get into this. If you're into this, Eddie, did you watch this ever before like this assignment? Did it feel like an assignment? Did you have any context whatsoever before this film?
I had not watched it previous to this,
Nope.
Nor can I say that I really, really watched it this time. It was...
Did you skip? Did you skim on, do a lot of skimming through stuff? 30 seconds, man. 30 seconds?
Oh, yeah. This was painful. Let me quote the great Roger Ebert in his review.
I love it when you bring it up, because already I know it's going to be salty. It's going to be spicy.
Glenn Close does what can be done with the role. Indeed, she does more than can be done. Cruella is almost too big for a live action film and requires animation to fit her operatic scale.
Wow. Is it when he's talking about animation, he's talking about the CGI puppy? CGI puppy.
No, I think what he's saying is we should have never had a live action remake. Just leave us in the earlier, the actual classic hand drawn animation.
Oh goodness. Yeah. This film from the moment you get into the Dr. Pavlov, very subtle, by the way, with Pavlov's principles and all that kind of stuff. From that moment on, it's just, you better brush up on your Swedish because you're going to win a Nobel Prize.
Peace Prize. That whole scene, you're just going, oh no, oh no. I think the scene for me that just emulates this movie so much is when she breaks, so you don't have to watch this movie. I will give you a quick recap. She goes through some type of psychotherapy that makes it where she no longer loves fur. So she gets paroled, she goes out, but later on it finds out that if the patient is exposed to loud sounds, then it can undo the psychotherapy. Her parole officer, who also happens to own Dalmatians.
One of the original Dalmatians. Yeah.
One of the originals. Just so happens to have an office right across the way from Big Ben. That's a coincidence. And in the midst of a meeting, Big Ben, of course, goes off. And she breaks, and then she, goes after the puppies all over again. Directly after that, there's this scene where she leaves the office and she's kind of in this crazy daze. And you know exactly where I'm going. Everyone and everything is painted white with black spots as Dalmatians. Every person on their face. We no longer have red double-decker buses in London. No, they too are painted. The Palace of Westminster is now painted black, white with black spots. Like all of London is painted white with black spots. Yeah, it is. And it's just a painful scene where you're just like, this is really, really bad.
The whole thing is just... It goes from absurd to cringe, back to absurd, to the whole ending of this film is on another planet of, it's like they realized that there was nothing cohesive to this thing anymore. And they're just like, let's just do as many flamboyant things as possible to culminating into her turning into a human cake. That's the payoff to this film, is she has been turned into a cake. At one point, she gets put into an oven, like an actual oven. And my thought was, she's dead, right? There's no way that she can be alive after being put into a furnace and being baked alive. No. Her hair gets singed a little bit, and then it comes back out, and she's just waddling around while all the puppies toss all of the whipped cream and stuff like that, or the icing on her. I'm just like, wow, this is just on. This is on crack. This whole thing is just a mess. The acting is very, very subpar, to put it too closely. And Glenn Close is just trying way too hard to make us love her in this film.
To just carry the whole thing, and it doesn't work. You've got, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Ian Grufford?
Ian. It's the weirdest. It's the most Celtic Welsh spelling of it, but it's Ian Grufford, who, talking about Fantastic Four,
he was Mr. Fantastic. And he's been in several other things, but yeah, he's odd in this too. It's just kind of bumbling. I think my favorite character in this whole movie is Mr. Wigglesworth. Waddlesworth. The macaw parrot that thinks he's a Rottweiler. He, for me, is the standout star in this whole thing.
He's from Monty Python. That actor, the voice actors for him,
fantastic.
A lot of stuff in there.
Eric Idle.
The bumbling idiot really is the best way to put what Kevin's character is in this film. I don't know if it's supposed to be endearing, but it's just mostly sad, and you're getting taken advantage of, man. He's got that heart of gold and got to give everybody second chances. It's literally the name of the place. It's just too on the nose and too, I don't know. It just wasn't compelling to me. I didn't really care if they got together. I didn't care. I know you, shocker, caring about the animals in this whole thing. Like I wasn't afraid of the animals ever getting hurt or being on the edge of it. There was no stakes really in this, and you saw them from a mile away. The $8 million, like, okay, eventually she's gonna crack and give this to us. It really didn't have. I don't know what to say. Like, I think I've run out of words to say. I feel like we've already spent too much time on this film.
I think the only thing left worth saying here is the fact that somehow Glenn Close does have such a tight connection to this character. So much so that, did you see, she actually served as an executive producer on Cruella,
wow,
Emma Stone's version of this. And there is discussions. So they've already paid Emma Stone quite a lot of money to come back for the
Cruella
sequels to
wow.
Cruella. And Emma Thompson is coming back as well in some capacity. And they've also mentioned the possibility of somehow Glenn Close appearing in the sequel.
Her future self coming back to tell her, don't do this.
2 different articles have mentioned this, and they're saying that the inspiration will be from The Godfather Part 2. I don't know what that means.
Go back and listen to our Cruella episode. I enjoyed Cruella. I really liked it. I thought it was fantastic the way they went about this. This is not it is funny. Like I think
it's
we
too much of a good thing. It's too much of a good thing.
Let's go back and let's see. I feel like we gave 101 Dalmatians fairly good marks.
We gave 101 live action 2s each.
We each gave them 2, which is fairly good for a movie of this ilk, where it's just like it's a live action adaptation and it doesn't really leaves a lot creatively to be desired from it. But this is like, it fell off pretty quickly, like the moment. Although I did love the guy in the court saying, "After my exorbitant fees, you will only have $8 million left," which is still a lot of movie. No, really where I was out, and I should have just stopped watching it, but I had just come off of watching tons and tons of curriculum that I had to watch for the online course I'm taking. Then sat down, was like, I'm ready for anything entertaining right now. Is when he's playing tug of war with the dogs with his own mouth. That's where I was like, I should have just stopped it. Or maybe around the time that LaPelt came on the fashion show. Any one of those times would have been good. Get out of this before we start taking the poopies.
There's just so many little moments in this where it's like, and Ebert's right. If this was an animated film, I think we could have believed it. We could have gone along with it a little bit. But because it's live action, it just feels so wrong. It just feels wrong.
Yep.
I never want to watch this again.
And that's
why I am giving it a 1.
1, solid 1. This is never going to rewatch this again on purpose, and probably going to turn it off if I see it actually come up on the screen for sure.
That's true.
And so with that, your life has been forever changed by another episode of Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast.
Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your other favorite podcast. And hey, while you're there, give us a 5-star review and share this with your best friend.
You can also check us out at honeywemade.com. And you can see all of our full movie lists as we continue to go through all of Disney's movies from 1988 to 2005, including next week's episode, which I'm so excited about, because we're going to be reviewing The Emperor's New Groove.
Thank you for listening, and remember, these aren't just any poopies, they're poopies with spots.